What's up YouTube, Jeff back again today, another very exciting tech video for you guys. And if you're shopping for a dash cam in 2026, I think one of the biggest questions might be, is it worth grabbing one of these flagship models, or should you just grab a basic front and rear setup and call it a day? After spending time with the DDPAI Z90 Master, I really think the answer to that question is yes, you should get a flagship dash cam, but you need the right one. So we're gonna jump into that in today's video. The DDPAI Z90 Master is not just another dash cam that checks the box for front and rear recording. You've got triple vision with 4K in the front, 4K in the rear, and 3K interior camera. Along with features like the Sony Starvis 2 sensors, HDR, IR night vision inside the cabin, 24/7 parking monitoring, 4G remote access, voice control, and dual storage with built-in eMMC plus micro SD expansion. What really matters is how that changes the experience of owning the camera day to day. This is the kind of setup that makes more sense if you park in crowded lots, drive at night, do rideshare for a living, leave your car outside often, or just want more than the bare minimum if something ever happens. In this video, we're gonna walk through all of the features on the DDPAI Z90 Master, take a look at some daytime driving footage with bright conditions, cloudy conditions, nighttime footage, the rear footage, the interior footage, give you guys a tour of all those amazing features and see if this is the right dash cam for you guys. So let's jump right in. Getting started right out of the box is quite simple, but let's walk through the installation setup and the various options that you have when you take the dash cam out of the box. The nice thing about the Z90 Master is that the main camera tucks up neatly behind the rearview mirror, so once it's installed, it doesn't feel intrusive while you're driving. It doesn't hang awkwardly in your line of sight, and it looks pretty clean in the car overall. Then you've got the rear camera mounted at the back and the interior unit position. And the interior unit position to give you cabin coverage really depends on how your car is set up, how you do this. I put it right in the center of my windshield. Now, obviously with any 3-channel setup, installation is going to be a little more involved than a super simple single camera dash cam. That's just the reality. You've got more wiring, more placement decisions to make, just a little bit more work to do, but it's honestly worth it because once you get all of this set up, it's going to look great and also capture multiple angles so that you're going to be safe no matter where you're driving and also when your car is parked. One more thing worth mentioning here is that DDPAI gives you 2 hardwire installation options, the traditional route via the fuse box, which is what a lot of people use with dash cam installs, but you also have an ODB option. That's probably the one you're going to appreciate if you do have the ODB port, because this makes installation a lot simpler and avoids some of the wiring complexity. For someone who wants that dedicated parking mode and a more complete setup, but doesn't want the install to turn into a wiring project, the ODB approach is a really nice option. And for a product like this, that's really the point. You want the installation to be simple, but again, there's a little bit of work to do. I got this done in about 45 minutes to an hour. Very simple to set up and to install. And once you do, you've got all those coverage options and you're good to go. Now let's talk about the thing that matters most with any dash cam, and that is image and video quality, because that's what you're really paying for. During the day, the first thing that stands out about the Z90 Master is just how much detail you're getting across the setup. That front 4K footage looks incredibly sharp, road signs are easy to make out, vehicles are well defined, and license plates are easier to pick up than on a typical mid-range dash cam. This matters in practical situations as well. If someone cuts you off, brakes hard in front of you, or there's some kind of disagreement after a minor accident, this clarity gives you a much better chance of actually seeing what happened instead of just having vague footage. The rear 4K camera is also a big deal here because many dash cams still treat the rear camera like an afterthought. Oftentimes you'll get a strong front cam, but then they'll have a very weak rear cam, and you can't really see anything that's going on. That's not the case with the DDPAI Z90 Master. The rear footage actually feels premium as well. Makes a real difference if something happens behind you, like someone rear-ending you, and that footage becomes what you need the most. And this is where the Z90 Master already starts separating itself from a regular budget or mid-range dash cam. The regular setup might give you usable footage, but this is giving you footage that's incredibly clear and useful in a variety of conditions, and I really appreciate that. Another thing that I noticed during the daytime driving footage is the HDR balance, so let's talk about that in some of these clips that we're looking at. When you're driving through bright areas, which happens a lot here in Phoenix, Arizona, passing under overpasses or dealing with heavy contrast, or moving in and out of shadows, the footage stays controlled quite well. This matters because dash cams often struggle when lighting changes quickly. You either lose detail in the bright parts of the frame, or the darker areas get crushed. The Z90 Master does a better job than most at keeping things balanced so the footage looks cleaner and more natural instead of blowing out highlights or turning darker scenes into mush. And again, this really helps in real-world driving scenarios. City driving, especially in a large city like Phoenix here, is messy. The light changes a lot, reflections happen, windshields have some glare, so this better HDR is not just a fancy feature on a box. It directly affects whether the footage is usable when you pull it up later. Now, one limitation with any dash cam is that glare is still going to creep up when you have this mounted to your windshield, but DDPAI also thought of that and have a solution that can help you mitigate that. One way is the CPL filter, which helps cut down reflections and glare at the hardware level. The other is the exposure adjustment in the app, so you can fine-tune how much the image is being handled in tougher lighting. So it's not just one fix, it's a combination of hardware and software here that helps you dial the footage in, depending on your car, the angle at which it's mounted, and the overall environment. Of course, the real test for any serious dash cam is what happens at night, so let's look at some nighttime footage and break down. The DDPAI Z90 Master really stands out here with dual Sony Starvis 2 sensors on the front and rear cams. Low light is where cheaper dash cams fall apart, the headlights bloom too hard, street lights create a mess, and darker areas lose detail, with plates much harder to read. You still get normal limitations that come with any moving camera at night, especially at higher speeds, but overall this footage is incredibly clean and better controlled than your average or even another flagship dash cam on the market. Headlight glare is handled better, bright light sources don't overwhelm the frame as badly, and you hold on to more detail in darker environments. This means highway driving at night, neighborhood driving, parking lots, and city streets all look more usable here than they do on a typical dash cam. So if you commute before sunrise, drive home late at night, or keep your car parked outside overnight, this low light performance becomes way more than a spec sheet win. It directly affects whether the footage is actually helpful when you need it later. And like I said before, if you find that glare is overwhelming your setup, that's where you can snap on that CPL filter and also tune that exposure control in the software that I talked about earlier. It's incredibly helpful. Now let's talk about the interior cam, because we talked about the front and the rear cams, but we haven't focused on the interior camera much, and it is quite impressive as well. The interior unit records in 3K, and it also has AI portrait optimization plus IR night vision. So the goal here is quite simple: make sure the cabin stays visible even when it's dark. In practice, this is really useful for a couple different types of people. If you drive rideshare, this is quite obvious because interior coverage matters with passengers in the car regularly, or if you have kids in the back seat and want a clear view of what's going on inside the cabin, that could be really key as well. And even outside of professional use, there's peace of mind in knowing that the cabin is being captured clearly as well if something weird ever happens during a stop or while parked. At night, the IR performance is especially important. Instead of the cabin turning into a dark blob where you can barely see anything but amorphous shapes, faces remain visible and more defined. That makes the interior cam feel like a real part of this system and not just an extra lens or camera that DDPAI threw in to pad the spec sheet on the 3-channel system. And that's kind of the overall theme with this setup, is that it's not just padding the spec sheet. Every single feature, both hardware and software here, makes a real impact, and I feel like the interior camera definitely delivers on its feature set. Now, of course, when you combine all three of those cameras, you get a complete picture of what's going on. Let's talk about how you can combine them and kind of put all that footage together. Front footage tells one story, the rear footage tells another, and interior footage adds even more context. When all three are working together, you get a much fuller picture of what happened. This could mean an incident on the road, something happening while the car is parked, or even just proving details that would be impossible to verify with a normal camera setup. If someone claims that one thing happened, but your front, rear, and interior views together tell a different story, that extra context can be huge. DDPAI also mentions that the multi-channel system keeping those three views synchronized and stable, and that matters because if you're going to use 3-channel system, it needs to feel cohesive. It can't feel like 3 random cameras that are stitched together. It feels like one product, one timeline. And that's really the advantage here, that DDPAI keeps all of those pieces synced up. So if you want to pull those, download those clips if you need them, you can match them up and synchronize them so you can see what's happening in the front, rear, and interior of your car. Next, let's talk about some of the more advanced features on the DDPAI Z90 Master, starting with 24/7 parking monitoring and the 4G cloud box that allows you to get 4G access to your car at any time. The Z90 Master supports 24/7 parking monitoring, and this is a huge deal if you leave your car in parking lots, apartment complexes, garages, hotel lots, or basically anywhere you'd worry about someone bumping, approaching, or messing with it while you're away. The key idea here is the system can wait quickly and start recording when something happens, rather than just sitting there passively. If there's an impact event or suspicious activity around the vehicle, the camera can react and save that moment. This is one of the features where the lifestyle value is incredibly underrated. Maybe you come back from the grocery store and notice a fresh scrape on the bumper, your car is parked outside overnight and someone gets too close to it. Any of these things could trigger the parking mode, and then you've got footage of what happened. On top of all that, you've also got 4G connectivity features that let you stay more connected to the car when you're away. Includes things like remote alerts, remote live viewing, and even 2-way voice communications through the app. Overall, these premium features is where the Z90 Master seems to kind of surpass most other flagship cameras. Not only do you have the amazing recording quality, you have all these additional quality of life and advanced features that allow you to not only access your car at any time, but also get alerts if something happens while you're away. And that's a huge peace of mind for a lot of people. One thing that I really love about the DDPAI Z90 Master is that if you have someone else driving your car, like I loaned my friend Tori, who co-hosts the Sammy Guru podcast, my car for a bit, I could check in using the 4G cloud box. So let's go ahead and take a look at how that works. I can even talk to him, see how it's going, check in on my wife or kids if she's driving the car. Just want to see how they're doing. So I'll show you guys how it works really quick right now. All right, so you go right here into the DDPAI app. You see here the 4G remote guardian. Go to live view here, and it's going to show you the car. You can see he's parked right now. I could talk to Tori actually.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, nice. How's it going? Is my car still in one piece?
It's going well. How about you?
Oh, pretty good, man. You know, I'm just over here at the office. I know you borrowed my car to go to Tempe. How's it going down there?
Yeah, I did.
How's it going down in Tempe?
It's going pretty well in Tempe, by the Tempe Town Lake, by Lake.
Let's talk about using the app, because sometimes you have a dash cam, the app experience can be awful or the file transfers are slow. So let's talk about how the DDPAI app works in practice. DDPAI is clearly trying to improve the file transfer speeds here with 5 GHz Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi Turbo, and Bluetooth low energy pairing. This matters because if you actually need footage quickly, speed is everything. If you get into an incident and you want to pull that clip, you don't want to wait forever for it to come over. This is one of the features that sounds small on paper but makes a big day-to-day difference. Faster access to footage means you're more likely to use the system in a day-to-day basis the way it's intended. This is also where the app settings matter more than people think. Beyond just viewing clips, having things like exposure adjustment gives you more control over the image depending on your environment, which is incredibly nice to be able to fine-tune things and make it look exactly the way you want. And the app overall experience is very nice and something that I really enjoyed about this dash cam. Let's next talk about storage, reliability, and the super capacitor, because these are some features that might not be the flashiest, but they're incredibly important for day-to-day use of this dash cam. Instead of depending entirely on traditional memory cards, this uses a dual storage system with built-in 128GB eMMC plus micro SD expansion up to 512 GB. This gives you peace of mind because you don't have to worry about your SD cards getting corrupted. In real life, that matters because you don't have storage problems when you need the footage the most. There's also the super capacitor, which is another feature I always like seeing in serious car products. It helps provide short-term backup power for safe recording during sudden power loss, and is also a smarter choice for extreme vehicle temperatures like extreme heat or cold. Especially here in hotter climates like Phoenix, Arizona, this could be a really important safety feature to make sure you don't lose vital footage. You've also got voice control and other smart features on offer here, which I really enjoyed and found to be great in terms of overall convenience. You get small extras like the voice control, which lets you say take photo to save a moment hands-free. That's generally useful because if something happens while you're driving, you don't want to be fumbling with the dash cam itself. There's also built-in GPS for logging things like speed, route, and time, which can be overlaid on the footage. And then there's the optional ADAS 2.0, which can provide alerts like the forward vehicle start and driver fatigue reminders. So after spending about 2 weeks with the DDPAI Z90 Master, here's my final verdict. Overall, I think this is a very strong flagship dash camera that gives you full coverage with amazing quality of footage and tons of smart features that you're not going to get on offer with any other premium dash cam. What makes it interesting is not just the long feature list, it has a very clear purpose. Complete coverage, strong image quality, better nighttime performance, smarter connectivity, and more reliable recording. I think that's really the story. A lot of dash cams are built to record. The Z90 Master is built to protect, document, and keep you connected in a much more comprehensive way. So that's it. That's my overall review of the DDPAI Z90 Master. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know what you look for in a dash cam, because I'm curious. This is my first full dash cam review. I had a lot of fun doing it. Curious what you guys would like to see me talk about more. Happy to answer any questions. I'll have a link below if you guys want to check it out and purchase. Also any relevant deals or discounts. Huge shout out to DDPAI for sending out the Z90 Master for review. Appreciate you guys sharing the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.